Good morning. It is March, so I thought we would take a March yard tour and see how everything's looking right now. There's sure a lot to do. The boxes of plants that I ordered over the winter are arriving, and I'm having to get help planting almost everything because I need to take a break with my hands. Not only my legs, but my hands now. So I am the gardener interrupted yet again. But let's go take a look at how the yard is looking this early March. And we did get some frost recently, and so I've been kind of, we had a day that was like 84 degrees or something like that, and then it cooled back down, and we had a couple nights of frost, and so I was really tempted to plant out some of my cut flower garden starts and my seedlings. Really glad I didn't, because they would have all gotten, nipped, and then all that work starting them would have been to waste. So we have a couple more days till our last average frost date, and then I will, give it another week, maybe. And the seedlings, as long as they're not completely outgrowing their seed trays, they're fine there. Mainly I have them in 2-inch seed trays, so that's bigger and it's big enough. There's enough space for root development. That's what they sell them in at garden stores and stuff. So that's I feel like they're in an okay spot. At least they're not, getting totally squished out by being in a smaller seed tray. So I'm glad I got the larger ones and used those this year. It's been much more successful. Okay, let's get going. Thought I'd start out here and do an update on the hellebores that I planted recently. They are doing really well and flowering. This is our driveway garden. And I even have a daffodil that came up blind last year. Now it's blooming this year. And I'm starting to see the greenery from some columbines coming up. So this will be very filled in soon. And I really love this pink jasmine. My grandma had pink jasmine on her front fence. It always reminds me of her, so I have that there. And then I have these little succulent containers I put together recently. Have not edited that video yet. Definitely behind in video editing. But that's kind of our entry garden, if you will. And I think this is kind of fun. It's probably not good for the olive, but the pink jasmine is climbing through the olive tree. And so I think that's kind of fun. The front porch is looking a little bit less covered in plants to plant, though there's a box here from Fast Growing Trees that has a mango and a red bud. And this looks terrible, but these are some bare root fruit trees that I've got to get in the ground today. Got a Sweet Treat Pluery, which is a mix between a plum and a cherry. And then a Flavor Grenade Pluot. So these are, I think it's a pink lady apple. So they won't stand on their own quite, but the plants that need to be planted are diminishing. And so the succulent garden is looking a little bit more prominent. I have succulents mainly up here. And then these are my remaining roses to be planted. And Heirloom Roses just started doing a compostable shipping options. So this is a compostable bag and then a cardboard pot. So that's kind of cool. And the tulips are starting to come up, and the honeyberry, I believe it is blooming. Not blooming. Leafing out. I just love this view. I love the mix of greens. It's really calming to me. The green and the blue and the purple. And I just think it's Such an intriguing walk. I always want to walk up this way. I just feel like it's very inviting with all the purples. So there's 3 different kinds of rosemary at least here. There's this one that has a purple flower. There's this one that has a dark blue flower. And then the one over there has a light blue flower. And this is the citrus orchard, so we have all kinds of citrus here. I did come in this year with some bulbs, so we're starting to see daffodils coming through. And there are a bunch of alliums that I hope will come up as well. But this is a Meyer lemon, lime, finger lime, Caracara pink navel. This one's a mandarin of some sort. Another orange, I think. This one was here in a pot, so I don't know what it is. Behind all that, there's a grapefruit, and then 2 more types of tangerines or oranges. I just love kind of coming up this path, and then each step up you discover the view more of the area beyond. And the birds are talking to me. In this area I have all different colors of green. I have this more blue-green, the sages and artichoke. See the artichoke, whoopsie-doo. Sage and artichoke beyond there. And then the citrus has more of a lemon, kind of a yellow green. And then the rosemary is just kind of a deep green. I just love the way that all those greens work together and make it, just kind of a real pleasing, cooling, calm palette. Some tulips coming up there. This is an allium. We'll see what it does. Daffodils snuck in there. And aside from the weed bucket there, it's a really pretty view. All the daffodils. So this daffodil is a Casada. It's a split corona. Looking a little worse for wear. Not sure which one this is. Pretty sure this one is a Del Nassau. I'm not sure I like the pink, kind of pink color in this area, but there it is. And it's fun to see that the figs are pushing new growth on this one here. And then this is a pineapple guava hedge, which is just about ready to be hedged up a little bit. And these are Miss Kim lilacs. I can see the buds coming. So it's neat to see spring happening. Look at all the flowers on the blueberries too. We hopefully will have more blueberries this year. I didn't really get out in time to prune them. I still could. It would be okay. Just would forfeit some berries this year, but I'd get more next year. I have to get weed buckets that are the right color for each each area, and then it'll look kind of less jarring. This is Geranium Majorense, and it's a biennial, so leaves only 1 year and then leaves in a beautiful plume of flowers the second year, and then it dies back, but it's a very readily reseeds. I have a ton more up in there that have reseeded themselves. I think I put some seeds over here because I wanted it over here. So let's see. So I think we will get flowers this year on these ones, whereas these ones are the new babies that will not flower this year. And some of these are a hardy geranium in here that are just stay low and have a purple flower. This is a Hebe. Pretty purple flower. Kind of once it's done flowering, I turn it back into a ball. And we really need to either weed whack or weed this sand volleyball court. We live in sand here, and but we have really bad weeds too, so it's kind of turned into a field of weeds. Oh well. Going up this way, ferns are doing well. There's a few snowdrops coming back. I really, these Monterey cypresses here have such shallow root systems that they just rob the soil of water, and so things like lily of the valley that you would think would just go crazy just do not thrive here. They do not make it. So I've tried a couple times, they don't make it. I'm just gonna let what works here work here. So this campanula is working, and so we will let that work. Another mosquito bucket. One day, someday, I will spray paint these all the color of the dirt or something. These ferns are getting big enough for me to cut for flower arrangements now. A bunch of different kinds of ferns. So I love looking at the orchard with the trees starting to flower and the daffodils spotted through. Just think that's so pretty. And then down in there is our raised bed vegetable garden. Upper veggie beds, I call them. And nothing coming up here yet. I've really planted ferns and hostas here in this more kind of woodland area, and nothing yet. I think I might have seen we got some pink muscari also. Could have sworn I saw one coming up the other day, but now I cannot find it. Oh, maybe that right there. There's something. We got a little bit of rain, and that helped all of our bulbs because it was crickets. Here's another one coming up right there. Another one coming right here. That could be a hosta, or it could be a muscari, or I don't think it's one of the ferns. I was weeding over here the other day. I just came and pulled a few pieces of grass, and I pulled up this root, and this is the root of this impatient right there. So it sends it, quite a ways out to try to get water around here, because then I was trying to bury it again. The cypress are really water thieves. Well, we definitely have to get to weeding the orchard here, but some things are looking good. Lavender is starting to bloom. I have a hyacinth, anemone, daffodil. I even see a snapdragon starting there. girls. And then here's one of the pink hyacinths coming up. And the white ones already came up. I planted these a couple years ago, the white ones. So they were more ready. And look at this, we already have some lavender. This is a catmint, just little catmint you get at the store. I have made my way back down to the top of the blueberry beds. I thought I'd walk this way. The avocado looks like it's gonna do well this year. We have another one on the other side of near the trampoline, and this one had this many flowers last year and I didn't get any avocados off it, so hoping it'll do it this year. It's a Mexicola Grande, so hopefully it'll do something. And it's fun. I'm seeing tulips, you know. I mean, we'll get them this year and then the gophers will eat them. They're already finding some of them, which is sad. Here's our blackberry wall of blackberries, and down in the veggie bed here, the carrots are finally doing well now that I fixed the water. And kale will keep growing up and up and up and up until it bolts, and this one is bolting because we had that 80-degree day, so this will be the end of this kale. But I'll get some new kale, and I've actually started some from seeds, so we'll put it out here. And our snap peas, sugar snap peas, are starting. It's not quite tomato time here yet. This beautiful rose. I can get over there. That pretty one. Let's see which one it is. The Lady of Shalott. So this is the Lady of Shalott climbing rose. It's usually my first rose to bloom. I'm starting to train it on this giant white wall, so the wall will be more interesting soon. And I see the gladiola greenery starting to come up. So that's very fun. Look at these blackberries. These are the Freedom 45, I believe. So they're thornless blackberries. Look how loaded up with flowers they are. Just really gonna be a good blackberry year, I have a feeling. Look at all these. I just put new roots in most of these pockets on the strawberry tower because we only had a few that survived, and we still do have a strawberry patch in the ground over that way. But it, you know, it's a lot of work to keep the slugs off of it because we get so much humidity. So it's over in there, and I've been digging them up and putting them in the strawberry tower, and I finally decided, you know, let's get some. I really wanted seascapes, but these are quinaults and one other variety. So we'll see how they do. These snap peas are a little bit more further along. They're sugar snaps. A little further along than their siblings in the other bed. I love the look of these maypoles. These are Gardener Supply maypole bean poles. They're a bit of a problem, I have to say, with the twine comes unhooked all the time, and it's kind of a pain, but once the peas start growing up, I think they will be more secure. And we're starting to see some more hyacinths. And this is the greenery for a peony. Oh my gosh, and even a peony bud there. The greenery. The leaves. Huh. Must have stepped on this one. Pretty though, huh? So these are apricots. They're just starting to flower. The apples haven't pushed any buds yet, but there's apricots. The plums are in full bloom here. I don't know why that one is later than these ones. Maybe it's a different variety. One of the cherries is, see, I thought, oh, they'll be so pretty because both cherries will be blooming at the same time. No, they're not blooming at the same time. One cherry is in full bloom. The other is still thinking about it. Oh, and I think I was talking about this. It's a catnip. Just the catnip that you get at the store, and it's such a wonderful plant. It becomes huge. It becomes this 5 foot wide by 3 foot high plant, and has beautiful purple flowers that attract all kinds of pollinators. And it's very rewarding plant. Pretty daffodils. So there's 2 different varieties here. This one is a double, and then this one's a single. That one's a single. And some of the stock made it over the winter, and it's coming up. There's my shadow. I just love the orchard feel here. And it's going to be beautiful when all the tulips come up, and then the roses and the peonies and the dahlias, and the snapdragons and the cosmos. It's just a kind of a rolling seasonal display. That's my goal in this area anyway. Oh, I got some tulips the gophers didn't find. This tall grass is a weed. I'm sure it's a native fescue or something, but we try to pull it. But I have help once a week, and so this week it was weed whacking outside the fence. Go this way. Many people treat this, which is a plantain, it's called, as a weed, but it has medicinal properties. It's astringent. And I actually think it's quite an attractive plant if you didn't know it was a weed and somebody called it, I don't know, fairy houses or something, because it comes up with these flowers that have they flower around the base as it goes up, and the leaves are strappy, kind of like a lily. So I don't mind it, and I leave it because it has some medicinal properties. And then I also have a red clover here that I leave, and then there's a white clover over in that area. And I just, I prefer these to, the mustard and the radish, which really aren't that bad either. It's really mainly the purple veld grass that we try to get rid of as much as possible. And the raspberries are starting to really leaf out. These are the fall gold raspberries in this area. Look at this one. This one's already even has some flowers on it, about to burst. And then the red raspberries are over on this side. And raspberries will spread if you let them. You can dig up the starts and replant them, or just dig them up and get rid of them. There's There's a bunch of starts up in there. Oops. I put this arbor here because we have this native blackberry, which is very thorny, but also very delicious. So I put the arbor so we can grow it up over that, because it was just spreading along the ground that direction, and we didn't, you know, that's not fun. So this arbor will be covered with it at some point. And then my mom recently brought me this. It's a Bauhinia unionensis. It has a really pretty flower. Oh, I see my hyacinths coming up there. But look at all the raspberry starts. So this is the fall gold raspberry. And I planted 3 plants. 1, 2, 3, maybe 4. And it's all the way down over there. And it's just filling in the area, and I'm okay with that. I wanted a bunch of raspberries, and once the canes are done, you cut them down, and if it starts to come to the path, like this one's a little close to the path, I'll just dig it up. And this was the peach. It's already bloomed, and I'm hoping they've been pollinated and they're dying back because of that, not because we had that frost, 2 nights of frost. Oh yay, more tulips. I just don't remember where I planted everything. Oh, more tulips over there. That's kind of a fun surprise when you plant things in the fall and then they come up in the spring. Here's a really pretty stalk. So I love stalk. I love it as a flower, for cut flower, and I think tends to be lazy. In my experience as a landscape plant, they tend to be lazy. But you know, it's got a nice long stem for cutting, and so that's awesome. I've been working on getting plants for this area, hostas and hellebores. I think I have more hellebores that I ordered that'll be coming in, and hosta roots, hoping they come up. This area again is under another couple Monterey cypress, and they steal all the water, so I might have to run more water lines here just to get the hostas to be happy enough. But it was a standard hydrangea here, and the standard part died, but I do see new growth at the bottom. Buddleia. This is a elderberry. There's some snapdragons underneath, and delphinium. Not delphinium, digitalis, foxglove. And I did plant a bunch of hostas back in here and some ferns recently. And I'm training this branch that came down and hit the ground here. I want to train it into a circle so that there's a kind of a really cool circle to walk through to separate the gardens. And I think this area is looking really pretty. This tree here is it's an Australian peppermint. And so it looks like a weeping willow, but it looks like this year round. It's not deciduous, it's evergreen. These cute little white flowers on it. I use it as a draping accent in flower arrangements a lot. And this was a lamp that I repurposed and made it into a statue. Just put it out here on a pedestal. And the hellebores, well, no, sorry. This is a hydrangea. And there's a bunch of hellebores in here. These are the same variety that I just planted on the other side. And then it's the ice and roses. And it's really cool because they come out white and then they age to green. So this is actually the flower. And if you want to use a hellebore in a cut flower arrangement, you need to wait until it sets its seed pods. These are the seed pods here. And it will last longer. If it looks like this, it's going to droop in a day. So you can use it if you're going to do something with it immediately. So variegated hydrangea here. Like, it's so neat. One of the branches has this just white leaf on it, no variegation. And some Japanese anemone that I'm hoping will kind of fill in this area. And this is miner's lettuce, which is edible. So we leave it, even though it's a weed technically. This is rock rose or cistus. And mainly you'll see in a lot of landscapes, commercial landscapes, you'll see the bright pink one with the larger flower. I like this one better. And I like the white one. I'm not a fan of the bright magenta pink one. But it'll get pretty big if you let it. This is another one. And this is a pink flowering currant, which just is really looking gorgeous. And I have 3 more that I've planted along the fence line last year. So this one's 2 years old, or maybe 3 years old. So those ones will pick up speed soon. I just think it's so pretty. It's deciduous, so if you want to use it as a hedge, you have to consider that. But I have other things that are evergreen planted around them. Trying to get us all hedged in here. Head toward the blue garden. Heading into the blue garden here. Some of these are the Mount Hood daffodils. And I see a lot of anemones coming up and hosta. This is gosh, I can't remember what the name of this not lavender, lilac is here. Bloomerang, maybe? Aren't these pretty? Of course they laid over, but the new blooms will stand up. Anemone. Another one here. Looking pretty. That's a cool hosta coming up here. Look at this blue anemone. Look at how just bright blue that is. It always makes me, stops me in my tracks because they're so blue. It almost doesn't look real. So I have some variegated things happening in here. I need to get some hostas back in that area. Some violets that I started from seed. Pansies I started from seed, put them out, and they survived the frost, luckily. And this is blue honeywort here, or Ceranth. And this is one plant that's planted here, and it's draping this way, and then it's also draping this way. It tends to sprawl. I just started a bunch more of these because I think they're wonderful. I want to fill this area in. I'm hoping they'll reseed themselves. There's a nutmeg geranium, like scented, little tiny white flowers. And the blue hyacinths are starting to wane, but I know in this area there's a bunch of the anemone, the blue one. I don't see it coming up yet, but I hope it will. There's just a ton of it last year up in here. There's a cool hosta. This is Nigella. I'm really loving a mist. This is not loving a mist. This is Delft blue, I think, or one of the blues. But it's such a cool flower. And I do see that the blue hydrangeas are pushing new leaves. Oh, look at this Nigella. That's a good one. So cool. I see a blue columbine coming up. So this is under what is this one? Eucalyptus. So we're under this eucalyptus tree here, and eucalyptus trees, I love them. Really like them. I think they're architecturally pretty, but they are messy trees. They are constantly dropping branches and peeling bark and stuff. So it's hard to kind of have a tidy garden underneath them, but it works if you don't care if it's too tidy. On this side I have rosemary, just planted some borage, which doesn't reseed in our area, it's not wet enough. The hyacinths are fading. I believe these are muscari here. I think that's a Geranium majorense. Another hosta and a columbine there. Toad lilies are spreading a little bit. That's cool. Blue toad lily. I'm going to be working on this area a lot this year, getting this, now that we have this staircase through here, I have, you know, a place where I can plant on this side of the path and this side of the path. Before it was just kind of a slidey hill and I didn't know where my structure was. It's always good to put something like a path in, or a, you know, a bench or a statue or a, you know, bird bath, something that gives you something to plan around, and it, or a building, you know, a greenhouse or something. Nothing on the clematis yet. I do have a purple clematis climbing this tree. Nothing yet. And we're getting some I'm glad this is happening. This is what I wanted. I wanted the daffodils and the anemones to be up at the same time. So there's white and blue happening at the same time. Most of this bed is just coming up. Just waking up. This one is a Pride of Madeira. And it's a really, I think it's a very pleasing color. This blue-green and, you know, the blue-green leaves and then the blue-purple flowers. I've noticed that even once it's bloomed out, they kind of create this ombre effect from, you know, like a green to a white to a green or a green to a brown. And I really enjoyed that last year, so I left the flowers on the plant. And it's getting quite big. I'm going to tree it up. I'm going to pick 2 or 3 branches and bring it up, and then we can plant her on the bottom of it next season. This is a ton of Nigella here, so they have these really cool looking seed pods that when they're green, I use them in flower arrangements. I probably should cut this one back, but I've been taking the seeds and scattering them because I would like more of it around, and I do see some of it coming up. This area looks like nothing much. I'm going to be working on this area. I think I bought plants for it already. Just have to get help planting them. I did recently plant 3 agapanthus in here. Variegated leaves. And this is a canyon sunflower. And then this way, we have a bunch of hummingbird sage underneath the oak. I think I am going to finally dig up this native blackberry here because it's never even flowered. We don't have any fruit off it. It's really not in a good spot. It's too shady. And then it's spreading itself, and I don't want that. I'd rather have you know, the hummingbird sage spread itself, or more agapanthus or something else along the sides of this staircase going up. Heading into the woods. My son helped me cut this back yesterday. This is one of the tree coleus, And it really, really has turned into a tree there. Way up there in the tree is the top of it. It's kind of a beast. I think more of it needs to be cut off, but he had to go. And then some shell ginger. Fine, not shell ginger. This is just kind of a, it looks like a shell ginger, but it may not be. I might be wrong about the exact type, but it was 2 plants, and you can actually cut them in half and divide them and make them into more plants. Here in the deep woods, which I'm kind of treating as more of a tropical, I have 5 more of these pink hydrangeas started. I need to put them in larger pots and get them a little bit bigger before I put them out in the garden, I think. I'm hoping this cactus will bloom this year. Don't know what it looks like. It's a Disso cactus. This one hopefully also will bloom. It has a really pretty pink bloom on it. And caladiums have gone in. Mosquito bucket. And these bromeliads. A couple different kinds of bromeliads here have gone in. And this in here last year there were 5, I think, giant geranium majorants, and there's a couple that I think will bloom this year again. And it just was so impactful. It was so huge and amazing, and such a beautiful display. So kind of leaving the area around them empty, because they're going to do that again and again and again. But I love this shady kind of tropical area. Back in there, the orange flower you see way back in there, that's a Calivia. And this is a lemon irisine, or not lemon, lime irisine. Ageratum has a purple fluffy flower. There is a hosta somewhere back in there, but I'm not sure it's ever gonna push. This is the tree, another Tricholeus. Over here, lots of so this is the lime irisine, and there's a pink irisine right there, bloodleaf they call it. It's hard to see, but there's a begonia right down in here. Begonia there. It will get tall. I know I have a white hydrangea there. This side. So here's the ageratum. I like the dark leaf, and it has a really pretty purple flower. It's actually the first thing I planted in this area was ageratum. Little dry creek bed. Look at this heuchera starting to flower. So I leave the oxalis in this area, much to my mom's chagrin. She's like, you need to pull that. But I like the yellow flowers. I like that it just completely coats this area in green. We try to pull the grass that comes up in between it as much as possible. But it's just really cute. In a couple weeks, the heuchera will all be blooming bright pink, and then there's the bright yellow salgrass, and just green and pink and yellow, and it's just a really kind of fun, colorful area. This is another pink hydrangea, doing well. This is the ugly back corner of our yard right now. I have made a beginning of a hedge along here of ceanothus and Catalina cherry. There's a bunch of Catalina cherry there, and put some natives in, sages, and a sticky monkey flower on this hill anyway. And so I'm just going to continue to develop this with California natives. I have some Catalina, mahogany started, some, I have a bunch of different sages started. I want to get some California sagebrush, just more sticky monkey flower, fill this area in with natives. And we are going to end up putting our chicken coop probably in this area and letting them roam around this area. This is the cut flower garden. So it's 1/3 planted. Glad I didn't plant any more flowers, and that would have been nipped by the frost. Oh, just saw a bunny run across over there. So this is a line of snapdragons that they got tipped over, so I think I know what they are. The hollyhocks behind them, I have no idea what they are, so I put a row of hollyhocks behind, but they're all mixed up. Who knows what's going to come up. And then I have Russell lupin, which is a perennial here, and strawflower, which is a perennial here. And then this is king size apricot. So I better look at. These are asters. Here we go. So asters here, and then some celosia, some carnations. And then this area, there's a few natives here, and then I just put a bunch of Russell lupin on this hill here in this swoop, so I think that'll be really cool. And looking this way, you can see the hedge is doing well. It's gonna hopefully hedge us off soon. Oh gosh, isn't this beautiful? This is a ceanothus, and it smells so sweet. It's so beautiful. The Native Americans made a soap out of it. Look at the bees, love it. Just pollinator magnet. So I'm gonna open the hoop house up because it's gonna be hot today. Got that opened up. So I have the Lisianthus and a bunch of other things are still in there, more columbine. And I've started to, in this area, there's a bunch of pine trees. So we have a pine, deodora cedar, incense cedar, and 3 or 4 stone pines. This is a stone pine here. It's gigantic. This one's quite old, actually it's 2. And so I just got another eastern redbud I'm gonna put right here, and I'm filling it in with lupin, columbine, and echinacea underneath. Just a bunch of different and meadow sage, a bunch of different kinds of flowers. And these mounds are green waste underneath, and then we put dirt on top and it creates mounds. You see the bunny over there? It creates mounds, and then they kind of biodegrade and compost down, and our soil is it's just sand, so we have to do whatever we can to enrich it. So all the pink flags are plants that I planted, and we still have a lot of radish weed and mustard weed coming up in this area. So the flags are there, so we know, okay, don't weed that plant out, or look for a plant here, because it's little seedlings have been planted. And then this whole side is yet to be planted, but the same thing. Columbine, lupin, meadow sage, things that you might find in a pine forest, perhaps, or perhaps not, but that's what I'm planning here. And actually, those new fruit trees, this is a sunflower here, giant sunflower. One fruit tree will go here, maybe the apple, and then There's the Pleury and the Pluot. And so one might go right here, because it get good sun. Another one out here. I'm trying to fill this area in with fruit trees because it's one of our sunnier areas in the yard. So another one there-ish. Maybe another one right there. There's a pear there. Pomegranate, some guavas. This is a sapote. I need to put one maybe back in that corner. This is a loquat. And then that's a Fuji apple right there. So I think there's 4 fruit trees. There's a mango, Pleury. The mango I think I'll put more protected because it's going to need a little more heat. But this area is agaves and aloes and leucospermums and grevillea. And I'm going to keep filling it in with agaves and aloes. Just kind of in this area. And then there are, along the side there is where I'm going to do a bunch of all my dahlia seeds that I saved. And then this side is where I put all the zinnia seeds. So this is a zinnia area, and then goes into dahlia seeds. And those I just direct sow. And there's a couple of oak leaf hydrangeas here, some sage. And eventually we will have a hedge. Nice tall green hedge everywhere around. And there's a bunch of roses here also. I guess I should not skip the roses. Couple of lark ascendings. David Austin. This one's a climber. I'll have to look. This is Lady Gardener. There's another Lady Gardener over there. And this one is not Desdemona. It is Windermere. So it's more of a white rose. So Windermere, and let's see what this climber is. Bathsheba. So there's Bathsheba there to go over this arbor. And someday I'll put something cool in that bathtub and it'll make sense. Let's take a look at the other side of the trampoline. So in this area, I have used a native strawberry as a ground cover, and it's pretty much choking out everything else. Like some poppies and anise coming through, and some grass. This is a Bermuda grass or something. But this area, we just got, more stuff planted this year. This is a red bud, and eventually the garden will go from here, and there'll just be a small path and then a little path to the trampoline, and then it'll go. So this area that looks like nothing right now eventually will be more of a garden. But in this area I have this, I believe was mulberry heuchera. It's one of the darker ones. These are Mount Hood daffodils. And then this, I wish I could remember the name of this. It's very shiny, and that's one of the qualities of it. That's it's like a mirror plant, I think. Some juncus. This is a crepe myrtle that I saved, dug out somewhere else, and I see some growth on it. Look at this. Isn't that a gorgeous one? So cool. Protea. The smoke bush back there. There's a Arabian jasmine. I have a couple of Cape rushes back in there. I did last year plant a bunch of Mahogany Splendor hibiscus, which has a purple leaf similar to these, and I'm hoping they'll come back. If not, I need to come in with evergreen, well, ever purple shrub, something that has this color, you know, this kind of grape color back in that area, dotted through. I'd like to have more of that because this is a very solid green wall. This is our gigantic passion fruit that we get bags and bags of passion fruit off all the time. And I decided to make it stop right here. And there's blackberries planted on the rest. There's some grapes that are not doing well at all. I just bumped up the water on them. I fertilized them this year. Hopefully they'll do something. But we get so many passion fruits off this. Look at this. Here's one that's ready to go, ready to be picked anyway, and then it has to ripen. But and then this is rainbow ascot, I think euphorbia. I like the leaves are multicolor, red, green, yellow. And then the flowers are just really pretty. This area is coming together more and more. It was just a dirt patch last year, so it's nice to see things coming together. I'm gonna walk this way into the red garden, the Zen garden. There's a strawberry tree, or Arbutus marina. It's not actually strawberries, but they do have an edible fruit on them. Here's the fruit. I don't know if it looks like a strawberry. A red, there's a bunch of albutilon in this area. Here's a red. This is just a red albutilon. Hoping that these Japanese maples will come back. This one is a cousin it plant. A couple of them in here. And the red, sorry, not red, lime iracine. This is just a red geranium. This is another kind of albutilon that the flowers look like kind of like a flame. Here, let me find what really looks like it. There we go. And more blackberry along the fence there. And then I'm starting to see the balsam impatient. They have reseeded themselves everywhere here, the little green one. This is a sedum, chocolate cherry or something. And Japanese maple, fingers crossed. There's a mugo pine. This is a feeling blue cedar, deodar cedar. Well, I got distracted for a while, so I think this is where I was. Mugo pine, dwarf mugo pine, and this is a deodar cedar feeling blue. And what's neat about it is it's just a real low growing pine. So I'm trying to create a Zen garden here. I have Japanese maples, I have pines. There's a blue, Arizona blue cypress there. I think it's a cypress. And I'm just trying to keep it mainly green tones. But I have planted some blueberries here, which take the place of a heavenly bamboo or a Japanese Paris, P-E-I-R-I-S, I think is how it's spelled. And I like it because it has the white bell-shaped flowers, leaves that are red and green. Here's a good example. And then it also gives us some food. So wherever I can, I sneak food into the landscape. And we just planted this magnolia tree, which I'm so excited about because I really needed this glossy, large leaf texture in this area. There's a lot of these fine line serrated leaves, you know, with the big bottle brush tree and the cousin-its and the grevilleas here, which are beautiful, the yellow flowering grevillea, and this lobelia here. It all kind of had a very serrated, you know, this texture of this leaf, so we really needed something different in this area. So very excited to have this. It's a southern magnolia, and eventually that'll be a big tree in this area and have a branch that comes over, and I'm just really excited that once we placed it there, it was like, yep, boom, we needed that. And I'm now in my office garden, which changes color scheme yet again, and mainly these lion's tail sages in the most of the year. They are a big bright orange pop here, but right now it's mainly the straw flowers that are standing out. These pink straw flowers, they wintered over, they stayed here all year. I'm just really amazed by them. They're very sturdy plants. And daffodils. This is a really pretty one. It has kind of a peachy trumpet. And most of the greenery you see here is it's a coastal California poppy. So those will all be in bloom here soon. And I have some kumquat trees here, one on the other side of the well shed. Ooh, that's a pretty daffodil. I love all the different varieties of daffodils. And then 2 donut peach trees. So there's one there and one here. Hoping they'll do well this year. And I grew from seed a cherimoya, and this little stick in here is the cherimoya. I have one indoors, I have 2, and the indoor one still has its leaves and it's growing and growing, and I might end up keeping that in there and hand pollinating it, but it's almost looking like this one's gonna have growth buds on it. So I'm babying it and hoping it comes back. And our snapdragons are starting to get buds on them, and the lemon balm is starting to flush back out with leaves. And this is a persimmon, it's a Hachia persimmon, and it's looking like it's getting ready. And some tulips. Tulips don't last long around here. Gophers get them within a year, except for these 2 actually have survived a couple years. But you know, I plant a dozen and I get a few. I get 3 that last. I see lots of yarrow, which I'm very excited. The yarrow's spreading in this area. It's kind of a yellow and orange yarrow. And I just got that rose over there trained up onto the wall. That's I believe a Bathsheba climbing rose, David Austin. So this area's cleaned out, cut back, ready to go, ready to burst. We'll head down the side yard here. I always talk about this vine because I wasn't going to plant a potato vine. I looked at it in the nursery and I didn't like how it looked on the little you know, stake that they had it on there, and really didn't like it. My mom said, you know, my friends planted it and it's always green, and it covered the arbor quickly that it was on, and it has these really cute little flowers, and why don't you plant one somewhere? And I'm thrilled with it. It's amazing. I love the way that it grows really quickly and it's filling in this arbor. The other side is a yellow rose, small flowered yellow rose. And I think it's gonna be really cool once they start mixing. They're both just about reaching the top. This is year 2 with them. And you know, this is more of an aggressive plant, but it's great in cut flower arrangements. It's a great filler flower because it starts out with these little balls, but then they bloom within the arrangement, and then the greenery remains, and I'm just really very thrilled. Over here I'm seeing some of the columbine. This is a yellow queen columbine. These, I believe, these are lily trees, a yellow lily tree. Something of gold. And then these daffodils are almost done. These were the tete-a-tete daffodils. They're smaller. And then I had a larger yellow daffodil. They're mainly bloomed out, but I like the contrast of the more strappy leaf with the ivy that's growing everywhere and the poppy. I kind of like that mix. And I know I have another columbine back in here. I have a catmint over there. I hope it's coming back. I bet it will. It's kind of covered in ivy right now. But the big thing that I've done along this run this year is I decided I didn't want the peppermint pelargonium, even though it was nice. It had a nice white flower that was kind of layered, kind of a viburnum kind of a look. I wanted to have roses, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, like 5 or 6 climbing roses along this long run here. Different colors, white, yellow, and pink. And so we got those in the ground recently, and you can see the strappy leaves coming up. Those are all gladiolas. And there is an Alnwick rose here. This is a come on, it'll come to me. Not an anemone, ranunculus. There's a ranunculus there. These are the California coastal poppies, and they're not a California poppy. California poppies are just orange. These ones are yellow on the outside with an orange throat. So that's how you tell the coastal poppy. And there's another rose. So they're all a bunch of climbers here. Calendula. The white is a anemone. And I mean, the poppies are just cheery. And this is where I look out the kitchen window when I'm doing the dishes and stuff. So I like a cheerful view. So that's what I've got here. So another climber. And then I also have a, what is it called? This one I got last year and it failed to thrive. Port Sunlight. So it's a David Austin Port Sunlight rose, and that one failed to thrive, but they gave me, you know, I let them know, hey, it died. You sent a picture, and they sent a new one out this year. So it's really cool. And we just got this is a bed of mint, different kinds of mint. And we just got that cleaned out. There was tons of grass growing in it. And so that's a tedious job, and I can't do it with my hands, so I get help. And these orchids, my grandma had these orchids. There's a white one, and there's a yellow one. These are cymbidiums. There's one that's yet to bloom. She had 3 colors, white, yellow, and green. And I don't know if my dad gave me a green one or not. We'll see soon. On this deck at her house, and she treated them with tender, loving neglect, and every year they bloomed beautifully for her, and it just reminds me of her again. And then I have another climber there, and this is the lower vegetable bed. It's mainly cleaned out right now. We have some garlic and onions that I started last fall. These I need to probably rework. This is purple broccoli, and it's just bolting. This is supposed to be Brussels sprouts, but I don't, maybe they're starting to form up. Maybe they are finally starting to form up. Okay, so these I planted last fall also. There's quite a few aphids on some of them, but I'm just leaving them, and I do spray them with neem, but if there's one that's pulling all the aphids, I'm not going to pull that plant and get rid of it, because that means the aphids are going to start spreading to my other plants, so I don't want that. So this was a Romanesco broccoli. I just haven't been like on picking them. This strappy texture here is a saffron crocus. I got quite a few saffron last year, and we'll get more this year. And then more broccoli. You see it's bolting. Brussels sprouts, broccoli that's bolted, and saffron crocus. So I think I'll pull the bolted broccoli, and I have new broccoli that started. Of course, we'll maybe pick this part and eat it. Garlic and onions. I think it's mainly garlic. And then this bed, this was so badly eaten by bunnies and then aphids that I just left it alone as kind of a draw for them. So this broccoli has gone to seed, the bolted rather. And then this is a fava bean, and I don't like fava beans, but the flowers are actually really tasty and sweet. So you can eat fava bean flowers. So they just come back. They seem to come back every year. But I do have some broccoli started and some, I have cauliflower under that mesh tent there. I have broccoli and something else, it's a brassica. So I'll put them in here. And I do have my basil and my cilantro ready, but I think I'll keep them inside for a little bit longer. They really need more warmth. But I could put them, in here. This was the basil bed last year, and then I had a line of cilantro in here. But I do have two more of these covers. I like these. They're an easy tunnel, keeps the bunnies off things. And eventually I will get another board for each side of this bed, and even if I don't bring the soil level up, it'll bring the wood side up enough that bunnies won't get in. So that's been my rats and bunnies. Rats ate all the corn over here last year, so I'm not planting corn in this area. But yeah, under here is the cauliflower I started from seed, and I think I'll keep it under this shade cloth because it kind of keeps it more compact and from bolting. So that's my plan. Just planted a pink flowering dogwood in that corner, so that's going to be a really neat pink burst over there. There's another climbing rose there, climbing rose here, climbing rose here. I'm going to climb up this side of the arbor, and we're going to rework this whole area once these compost bins are ready, once they've ripened or whatever. We'll move them out of here, and then this will become a walkway into the garden instead of, people having to walk past our trash cans. So that pretty much wraps it up. That ends the tour for today. It's a walk around and looking at what's going on right now in the garden in the beginning of March. And I had to get my hat, my sunglasses halfway around, so quite a few distractions. It wasn't just one solid walk, but I think I hit every area that has something going on right now. So thank you for joining me, and I'll catch up with you next time. Bye-bye.